Good day, everyone, and welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope, and the new Nigeria is certainly possible. And a good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending your time zone. Today, we've come to have a discussion on what is happening in Nigeria, especially as His Excellency Peter Obi has broken silence on the issue of the Obidient Movement Directorate as envisaged or proposed by the Labour Party. Now, Peter Obi has firmly stated that the Obidient Movement operates independently of any political party. This response comes after a recent announcement by the Labour Party on May 30th regarding the creation of an Obidient Directorate to integrate Obidient family into the Labour Party. In a statement released via his verified Twitter handle, His Excellency Peter Obi emphasized that the Obidient Movement is not directed by any specific political party, and in quotes, any individual or individuals claiming to be leaders of this non-existent directorate are simply not members of the broader Obidient Movement, end of quote. His Excellency Peter Obi clarified that while there may be a youth mobilization directorate within political parties, the Obidient Movement extends far beyond any single political entity. In quote, the Obidient Movement is a diverse and inclusive collectives that transcend traditional political, religious, and ethnic affiliations. It is not domiciled within any particular party or headquartered in any specific part of the country. He explained and highlighted that the movement's membership spans across Africa and the globe, including individuals from various backgrounds such as rural communities, public, private, and corporate entities. All members are united by a shared vision for a new and better Nigeria. Now, His Excellency described the principles guiding the Obidient Movement as adaptive and transformative change, progress, discipline, and democratic values. Said the movement advocates for fairness, equity, inclusivity, and justice, committed to strictly accountable and responsible code of governance. And he quoted to say that members are committed to contributing to the realization of a better future for Nigeria through the new Nigerian project anchored on loyalty, integrity, democratic values, he stated. Now, coming with me today to have this very discussion, I have with me Divine Dons and author Chibeze, who are here in the studio to have a conversation, very brief conversation on this, because this has been lingering for a while now. So, Divine, of course, we all are obedient, but there is a perspective, and from the tweets that His Excellency brought out speaking on this, we can see that he is also emphasizing on a broader movement. You understand? Right. So what is your take on this? Bearing in mind that Labour Party are trying or collaborating with some headless or individuals to actually see how they can put a directorate on the obedience, which His Excellency has clarified that is purely not acceptable.
Well, I think it's very important, or it was very necessary for His Excellency Peter Obi to come out and, give this disclaimer, because it's something we've always said over time, that the obedience movement is really not about a particular person. His Excellency Peter Obi just happens to be the person in which we see these attributes of transparency that we as Obidient believe can lead us to a new Nigeria. And so it's beyond any political affiliation or ethnic or religious affiliation. It was necessary that he came out to say this. It is about the idea, not really about a person, and trying to make it political at the end of the day was going to become problematic in the long run. So I think it's very necessary that he gave this disclaimer, just in case anybody was thinking they could, make something out of it or bring some kind of structure or leadership structure where they're going to make it very, you know, chaotic. So it's necessary that we actually just understand that it's about the idea of a new Nigeria, and it is not limited or, you know, restricted to any political party.
Yeah, thank you very much. And before we go further, we can see in the screen of His Excellency P2B's page, for all of you who wish to visit, it has already accumulated over 1 million views on X platform, which is formerly Twitter, and you might go to that very place, join other Obedients who are also looking at those things and seeing everything that is being done there. Now, let's take some reactions before I get to Otto to talk more on this. Let's take the reactions from Obedients who also wish to state their mind. Let's start with Spotlight Abe, who said, just in case you did not get it, P2B is saying that you can support whoever you want, but don't drag Obedience into your shenanigans. Don't gaslight Obedience with your choice. And don't also try to guilt-trip us after your boss trading. That is coming from Spotlight Abbey. We have notable Obedience who are also, you know, putting out their own comments. We have from Obaze Oseloka. We have different Obedience who also we have this coming from Maurice Moye, who said, thank you. Those old men don't get it. They simply do not get it. We will keep speaking, Sha. Then by the side, we say, these people still don't get it. Laughing out loud. Old people with old thinking. And that is, he now mentioned the issue of the Labour Party. Now we have this Osoloka H. Obaze, who said, those who want to convert or capture Obedience should think twice. You can't catch the air. Where at P2B is, that is the home of Obedience. Obedience align with P2B, not with any political party. If you know, you know that is coming from Oseloka Obaze, the chieftain of one of those of the party, that is a Labour Party, of course, and Obedience. Now we have this very one coming from Daddy Twins, who say P2B is the best thing that will ever happen to Nigeria and Nigerians. If you wish for a stable economy and enjoy quality life, P2B is the man that can bring about it, not those people leaking microphone. And I suppose we have the one that also come out from Dr. Moses Paul. Dr. Moses Paul also made it very clear in his own tweet when he said that when individuals deliberately choose not to understand and ignore the truth, it is challenging to make them see reason. However, if we genuinely believe in the Obedient movement ideology led by our principal, His Excellency P2B, which I believe we do, we should be unified and resolute. We should ask questions and seek to understand rather than make assumptions and statements that are not verified. The movement's principle, anchored in democratic values, transformative change, and integrity guide our actions. This is what is coming from Dr. Moses Paul, who, of course, again, is one of the broader, the speakers of the broader Obedient movement. Let's hang on there with, because I know that there's a continuation of what Dr. Moses Paul sent out. But let me quickly come to you, Otto. You've seen the reactions of people, and there's much, much more reaction, because I tell you that this very tweet from His Excellency P2B has generated over more than 1 million views. You understand me already? Within the hours that it has been tweeted. So, what is your take on this? Do you know this very thing is coming out from either a fight coming from the CPO group? There's a certain group that actually, you know, working with Labour Party, and they feel that Obedience should, you know, be taken over by Labour Party, which has been sternly, you know, rejected by Obedience across board. At least the broader Obedient movement did that. What's your take on what His Excellency, the stamp he has as a seal that no discussion of such should go on as far as he's concerned? What's your take?
Thank you so much. First of all, what His Excellency did is very, very important, and it is timely, it is timeless, it is important that he did it at this particular point in time. Obedience is an ideology that stemmed from him, And if you follow the narrative of the general elections, the presidential, going into the House of Assembly and Senate, you find out that at some point he made a comment on social media space. A lot of Obedience boycotted it, especially that of Mrs. Aisha Yesufu, you know, something regarding Labour Party and aligning, where she vehemently rejected that particular statement by His Excellency. Now, what he said is important in the sense that Obidient is working with an individual. There's an ideology, and that ideology, they attribute it to the individuals who are vying for posts, not particularly political parties. And that is what His Excellency, I believe that he has done his own work, and he has come to the realization, and he has accepted this, and he has, you know, backed up the obedience. So going forward, I would say that having made this statement and having understood the particular position of obedience in Nigeria and nationwide, I can categorically tell you that on the long run, it is more about Nigeria. It is more about the good candidacy, and then, of course, P2B being there for now. But going forward, is going to transform into something bigger.
Having noticed the caution that P2B gave to the Labour Party, I also noticed that there is also an advisory coming out from him talking about a youth mobilization and all of that, which if they take a note, it's more like giving them an idea. I mean, that you could actually get a directorate on the youth and stuff without bringing obedience into that, you know, because that is actually trying to create a division between the obedience. What's your take on giving them that a node or kind of advice that they could actually go ahead with that without involving the obedience? Because actually the people who are actually going to still be in that directory may or may not be still obedience. You get my point?
Well, they will still be obedient. But what he did is always been there in political parties, the youth wing. So if they really want to gain control, because obedience have been, you know, structured and demographically classified as youth. So since they have that need for control, let them see how they can, you know, get a few people into the party from the youth demography and then control what they do. But labeling it obedience, as it were, is not going to be possible, because you can't catch the air, like one of the reactions we had on the Twitter said. So they can go ahead with that youth aspect. There's always a youth aspect. I mean, the national youth coordinator of Labour Party is actually my friend. We speak, we have a good friendship. So, I mean, they can go ahead with that, and then, of course, try to reach out to the wider Obidient family. But saying that this is Obidient directorate for Labour Party, no, it is not going to work. It defeats the aim, the purpose, and the ideology of the Obidient family and the Obidient movement at large. Okay,
so we have taken these reactions that are coming from the tweets, and much more reactions that are coming from obedience and all of that. But let's even look at it from the author's point of view, that is embracing the organic nature of the Obidient movement. For some of people who are sending messages and also asking questions that has to deal with this and the CPO, which is one of the support groups that you know, actually did one or major things in this very 2023 election. But let me stress fact about this CPO and the functions that are there that are clearly bringing up the issues. The Obidient movement is not a structured organization that is understood by everybody, but a spontaneous grassroots phenomenon devoid of formal leadership. Any claims of representation or control by individuals or factional groups like the CPO are mere fiction, driven by self-interest and their lust for power. This very thing we are talking about, which is the recent communique by certain power seekers in a function of the CPO, is a testament of their desperation for acceptance and recognition. We are aware that they are illegitimate, as their assertion is not through the broader Obidient movement, just like CPO has classified. So we are still going to be looking at all the other things that will be coming, which of course we'll bring to you as it goes on. But before we try to bring in, as Aisha Yusuf, you mentioned her just a while ago, Aisha Yusuf had always you know, advocated for the obedience, and at least when we talk about the broader obedient movement, Aisha Yusufu is there at that very broader. And today, while stepping out, I think I saw a video where she, gave her own voice, even while in a vehicle going to the airport, as she said on that very video. She tried to also capture this same thing that we're talking about, and she brought it out. Credits to her, giving her own side of the tale. And the Aisha way is a way that audience that captivates the audience. True. Because she speaks her mind and also comes with some sort of something that will make you smile and laugh at the same time. So we are going to be bringing her video for the audience to actually see how she positioned that very particular event that PO described. As for all the other people who are of the opinion that the broader obedience should or must be in Labour Party, we had always said that the obedient movement is in almost all the parties in Nigeria. They are the grassroots people. So let's be mindful that we have obedience who are in different political parties and many of them may not be card-carrying members of these parties. So let's be guided. But before we go from this very talk, because we are going to bring other things, and before also I bring you the Aisha's perspective, let me remind you that wherever you are and you're watching this very video, that there's a registration of the Obidient Family Cooperative Society, the welfare arm of the Obidient movement, happening across the federation. Whichever local government you are in, Obidient Family Cooperative is being registered with the state government. It's a structural framework. We want obedience to be able to survive this remaining 3 years while we redefine our options for 2027. While doing that, we need to make sure that the obedience are engaged in each other. I mean, they in their communities, in their grassroots, that they mobilize and do business of mutual interest for their own benefit. So that's why we call it the welfare. Welfare is for them to survive this very hopelessness that is happening in Nigeria. So wherever you are, please, there's a link in this very broadcast which obviously will lead you to a WhatsApp group where when you get there, there are groups where you see different local governments. And those local governments, you will find where you are, where you reside. Join the Obidient Family Cooperative Society. Now, let me continue to also mention the fact that what led to the integration of the CPO, the emergence of various functions, and why many of the real leaders have moved on. It is important to note that there are over 200 active support groups who are not in any way affiliated to any group. They have worked tirelessly in the 2022-2023 on their own without seeking recognition. The Obidient movement predates the 1 million man march. Its roots can be traced back to 2019 when His Excellency Peter Obi was Atiku's running mate. The NSAS process later fertilized the movement, catapulting it into a national force for emancipation. Any claims of founding the movement are blatant lies, born of selfish intentions and greed. Efforts to harmonize the movement, we understand, stem from genuine concern, but achieving unity will be a daunting task since the authentic obedience are not online. They consist of illiterate farmers, market women, artisans, students, professionals who are not engaged in the online struggle for control and leadership. The organized obedience, on the other hand, are fighting for dominance, but they do not represent the organic movement. The Labour Party's attempt to address some of the concerns raised by bringing the organized obedience into its fold is understandable, as it is not cohesive. In as much as it's not cohesive, willing individuals, like we mentioned here, could, of course, join them and feel free to join them, while those decline should not be persecuted. It is important to recognize that there are dedicated obedience who are card-carrying members of other political parties and are happy to pursue their political career through the party's mechanisms. We need such obedience to help influence decisions within the party in favor of obedience in general. The infighting within the organized obedience is unnecessary, but expected, given the diverse interests at play. Ultimately, our shared triumph is inevitable. Let us embrace the movement's organic nature and resist the temptation to impose structures or leadership, lest we suffocate the less essence of the grassroots phenomenon. That is as much as we will take on this very segment of the program. Let's take the Aisha's perspective until we come back your way again. Bye for now.
Hello everyone. Yes, I'm in the car, I'm driving, actually traveling somewhere. So we are heading to the airport. But in the meantime, what must be done must be done. Did you see? Let me the thing. Did you see the statement that Mr. Peter Obi put out? He put out a statement on the Obidient movement. So it's what do you call them now? Labour Party. Labour Party decided that they were going to do a directorate of Obidient movement or something like that. And then they appointed some people, you know, to say Labour Party appoint blah 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 to oversee Obidient directorate. And this is the thing that I find funny. On one hand, Labour Party understands the fact that without the Obidient movement, this whole thing that they have, they wouldn't have gotten it. And without the movement, more or less, it's going to fizzle out. They don't have the capacity, and they've not been working in a way that shows that they are ready to maintain and do the things that Nigerians are looking for. So it's a matter of they want to eat their cake and have it. But at the same time, they don't want the Obidient to really be in. Members of the Obidient movement to really be in the party per se. They see it as if, oh, it's a threat to them. People are trying to come and take over the party. People are trying to come in and all sorts of things. So it's been on. So when they announced that they were overseeing one directorate, they have been creating a directorate for Obidient movement and all of that. They watch. So yesterday evening, I think, or was it even yesterday night, it will be put out a statement, and it was at night at 7:27 p.m. Nigerian time. And I'm going to read the statement as it goes on. So if you see my camera shaking, I'm in the car, and honestly, I didn't even come with what do they call that stand. So I'm actually using my hand to hold it, and sometimes my hand gets tired and I have to just support it. And meanwhile, I have to now hold the other phone there. Anyway, long story short, we got to do what we got to do. So it says, Mr. Peter Obi said, I like to categorically state that the Obidient movement is not directorate of any particular political party. Any individual or individuals claiming to be leaders of this non-existent directorate are simply not members of the broader Obidient movement. That's asking. I don't think, you know, this is, I might be wrong, but this is the first time amongst the few times I've seen, you know, Mr. Peter Obi go directly at Labour Party, because it's always diplomatic in the way he handles the affairs and stuff like that. But this is, I think this is straight to the jugular. Is it jugular or jugular? Which one's correct pronunciation? Anyways, so straight to it as seen. See, no, I not even tried that. See, let me even use the pidgin version of that. No, I not even tried that nonsense where we did. It's nothing like any Obidient directorate or whatever. Whoever it is, when I go carry, go put it. Anyway, let me back to Peter Obi's, you know, the way he's saying it. So he said, there may be a youth mobilization directorate in political parties, but the Obidient movement is far beyond a particular political party. The Obidient movement is diverse and inclusive, collective that transcends the traditional political, religious, and ethnic affiliations. It is not domiciled within any particular party or headquartered in any particular part of the country. Its membership spans across Africa and the globe, comprising individuals from various backgrounds, including rural communities and public, private, and corporate entities. united by a shared vision for a new and better Nigeria. Guided by the principles of adaptive and transformative change, progress, discipline, and democratic values, the Obidient movement advocates for fairness, equity, inclusivity, and justice. It is committed to a strictly accountable and responsible code of government. Our members are committed to contributing to the realization of a better future for Nigeria. Nigeria through the New Nigeria project anchored on loyalty, integrity, and democratic values. The Obidient movement seeks to foster positive change through a commitment to integrity, honesty, and accountability, rejecting deceitful behaviors. We serve as a beacon of hope for a reimagined Nigeria where leadership is grounded in character, capacity, competence, compassion, and well-being of the people. Let this serve as a warning. I don't do anyhow. I know they fear this. I do anyhow and I will see anyhow. Let me go back to Peter. Let this serve as a clarification that the Obidient movement operates independently of any political party, and its membership is not limited to any particular affiliation. Our focus remains steadfast on driving positive change and promoting a new Nigeria for all. This is who we are and will remain for all time. Signed, P.O. And so, I need to move my glasses, Joe. So that's the signing off, and that's what it says as a period. And okay, I should have ended it there. That's on period. Like my daughter will also, their generation, they always use that, and I used to learn it from my sister. That's on period. I say, PO has already spoken on that matter. But to come to think about it, and I see a lot of people, like there are some people who, fine, it's about candidates. I always say that a candidate instead of party and all of that, I am for that. But a situation whereby some people feel, especially where they are doing this, obedient for this, obedient for, there's nothing like obedient for anything. If you have anyone you're supporting, go ahead and support it. Everybody is free to support it. But you don't drag the movement or anything into that support. And at the same time, parties, you can't come and claim. Labour Party can't sit down and say they want to claim this thing. They want to have a directorate of it. It's the audacity and the insult and the annoyance as in director. No, you people are not given the permission to enter the party and be full citizens, but you be on the fringe, and wherever we need your numbers, we use your numbers. That's the way. Oh, that's thunder. You always see the lightning and then the thunder comes. Light travels faster than sound, right? And then they just want to sit down and enjoy the thing that comes from an obedient movement, but they don't want to allow them the assets that is needed to be in that party. That's crazy. But at the same time, also, it's also to say that there is a need for that political power in terms of political party. If Nigeria had independent candidacy, then it wouldn't matter whether there's no need for party. You can operate on a level where you have like a political, that political base. There's a name I'm trying to remember. There's a particular name for it where you like a voting block, yeah, like a voting block, which is like what it is going to be right now. But there's also that need for that, having that access to a political party where citizens can run. I am very particular about citizens running for office. I mean, citizens who can serve but necessarily do not have money. We need to pull in a war chest. We need to be able to sponsor people to run for offices and get into, especially the legislative arm of government, in terms of the state houses of assembly and also the National Assembly. These things are very critical, and they are not things that need to be taken for granted. Being on the fringe, being on the outside, as romantic as it looks, it will not solve all the problem that we really need solved. Yes, we have Mr. Peter Obi, who is like the presidential candidate. If you're talking about election today, who do we have for the 109 senatorial positions? Who do we have for the, is it 360 or more House of Representative position? Who are the people that we have for all the state houses of assembly, local government, chairman, chairwoman position, and local government councillors? These are things that we must populate, and we have to begin to do that, and getting people with competence, character, capacity, getting into those places. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we need to get that going. Although there are some work that have been going on in the background, it is time for it to come out more and begin to have people, join, and let's towards getting that country we are looking for. It's not going to be a day's job. It's not going to be immediately. It might take the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But the thing that must never run out is our resilience and our capacity to focus on the issue. Good must be more tenacious than evil. Thank you for watching. Bye.